So we met at the beach, we went surfing, and this dude I've never heard of was just like, dude, you gotta buy my photo. And I'm like, how much? He's like, 4 ETH, which at the time was like 12 grand. And I'm like, okay, this random guy is asking me to buy a photo for like 12,000 bucks. And I was like, that's usually bullish when these things happen. So I was like, all right, let's do it. I don't even know who you are, but let's just do it.
Welcome to the Alpha Podcast, made possible by West Coast Customs and Neverland Studios, hosted by me, Jussup. Before we begin, I want to remind everybody that what you're about to hear is not financial advice, nor do we endorse any of the guests or projects on the show. This is simply meant for educational purposes, and oftentimes I'm learning about these projects in real time as we're recording them. While this is brought to you by West Coast Customs and Neverland Studios, the opinions expressed are of my own or the guests, and not of the companies. So without further ado, let's tap into the episode. Cool. Welcome to the hottest Web3 podcast, literally, because we're in the Bahamas and it's hot.
It's hot.
I'm here with John. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, John Caldwell. I work at Wave Financial. I run their NFT fund called the Non Fungible Fund. We were the first SEC regulated NFT fund that actually buys and sells actual NFTs. That's my day job. I also have sort of a passion project. I'm a founder of Unicorn DAO under the Unicorn brand. So we're bringing women in the LGBTQ community into Web3 and NFTs.
How did you get into Web3 and NFTs?
A lot of it was during COVID, honestly. Clubhouse. I think when lockdown happened, I was like, okay, well, I still need to interact with humans. What's the best way to do that? Obviously, World of Warcraft, jumping around Stormwind and looking for groups and, hanging out with people in that world. I used to do that, and I was like, I still want to do that. I can do it, it transcends lockdown and COVID and viral infections, so let's do it. So I got back into WoW, and simultaneously I was doing a lot of clubhouses and educating myself more and more on crypto. I was working at a layer 1 called Secret Network, which is a privacy protocol.
Actually, I talked to Tor on this.
Cool. Yeah, and I had been involved with them for a while, but got more into their marketing and doing clubhouses for them, and I saw just how much excitement there was around just live conversations about what was happening. Everyone was just locked up wanting to learn, and I was being stimulated by all the learning and smart people around me. All of a sudden, I was just telling all my friends, yeah, dude, there's this thing called the Metaverse, and there's digital assets and ownership, and they were just you're insane. But so I found my people in Clubhouse and eventually Twitter Spaces and Web3, and I think at one point the first person I heard punks from was Alan Haina. There was the Mooncats claiming revival thing, so I claimed a bunch of Mooncats. I also claimed the Twitter handle Mooncat Rescue. While everyone was claiming Mooncats, I was I'm going to claim the Twitter handle. And so I became an admin on that community, and eventually actually gave it back to Ponderware. And then Rare Pizzas, which Irvin and William and a bunch of other people were involved with, snacks. Just sort of being this is so cool. This came out of nothing. Literally, I think the Clubhouse room was the room about nothing. And they were let's do a decentralized NFT project where we buy pizza for the world, and it was total chaos, but it was totally a learning, fun experience. At a certain point, I bought Cyberkongs early. I also sold them at 1 ETH, like an idiot. I did that with minted Bored Apes. I sold them early. I don't know. I didn't really know what I was doing, really. But then I got heavier and heavier into it. One day, I sort of ramped up my NFT status, I guess. I was in the CryptoPunks chat. I was hanging out in there all the time. This was when it was still a lot of good information in there. It's sort of gone downhill since. But I was in there, and Justin Aversano, the photographer, was hey, you surf, you're vegan, you want to hang out? And I was okay. He was let's meet today in Topanga. And I was okay. So we met at the beach, we went surfing, and this dude I've never heard of was just dude, you gotta buy my photo. And I'm like, how much? He's 4 ETH, which at the time was 12 grand. And I'm okay, this random guy is asking me to buy a photo for 12,000 bucks. And I was that's usually bullish when these things happen. So I was all right, let's do it. I don't even know who you are, but let's just do it. And that was a twin flame. So those are now worth 200 something ETH. And he was also you gotta buy a punk. And I was on the fence about punks. So I bought my purple hat punk. I had my eye on it that day. So I got a twin flame and a punk on the same day, and just that started sort of the next level up for me in terms of once I was more integrated in the punks community. I mean, having a punk opened up so many doors to just the community and the people, the builders. And then pretty quickly, I mean, I got poached out of like Discord and Twitter Spaces and stuff to run Wave's Non Fungible Fund. Like they were like, you're the guy to do it. You know what you're talking about. You know degens, you know builders, like you know the community, you know artists. Just so they let me run with it. It's been really fun.
It's kind of crazy how much, how many people's careers and lives kind of took off from Clubhouse.
From Clubhouse, which is now dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole community, like, I don't know, like 5 or 10 like NFT type people that I know from there that are all like totally crushing it now, have crazy job offers and big corporate NFT strategy jobs. And I mean, I look at it like dog years. Like if you've been in it for a year, you basically have like a 7-year career. Like it's really fun getting to talk to them and learn from them. And like there's a few of my, like I'd consider them like NFT mentors, like Snowfro or Aaron Wright, or even a guy I work with, Gerard, Jeebs. Like these are like old school CryptoPunk like claimers. And just being around people like that who've been in the space for so long is like super inspiring.
Do you think, I mean, obviously these are worth a significant amount of money, some of these, like an ape or a punk and stuff like that, but it also seems to hold a lot of social currency.
Totally. The first thing I noticed about having a punk and like changing my PFP was like every single other punk I DM'd would basically DM me back.
Right.
So like, but most of those people get inundated with like stuff all day and you kind of can't just DM them, but it was just like a access pass. But it was not codified in any type of like, you know, gated room or anything like that. It was just because that was your PFP.
Yeah.
And then building up a little bit of like a presence, personal brand presence within the chat or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, like, I mean, it's almost a strategy. Like, if you're trying to grow a personal brand or any type of brand, I mean, you see Visa when they purchased a punk. I mean, I think there still is a strategy of looking at it and utilizing these communities. I know I've seen, like, YouTubers go from 100 subscribers to thousands and thousands just by buying an ape and become, I mean, obviously it's a little harder now, but, you know, buying an ape, even 40 ETH.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when utility, it's already here, like within more casual, like utility terms. But I'm a big fan of people who try to transcend their metaverse presence or proto-metaverse presence. And I'm borrowing that from 6529 because he says that we're in a proto-metaverse already with Twitter, Discord, whatever. And I think it's totally accurate. So you have your like metaverse identity, your online identity, and then you have your IRL identity. And it's maybe your like metaverse twin or your like reflection of yourself. But I really love people who do try to transcend and bring both of those things to the table. There's people you meet that are like, you come to these conferences, you meet them, they're there, they're putting themselves out there, they're, you know, introduce you to their network, stuff like that in real life, and they're fun to hang out with and you bond that way. But then you also have your entire life like in the digital world. So Twitter Spaces now, Discord, emails, now we're all working together on stuff. I think that takes a specific hybrid skill set that is maybe a little bit scarce here. Some people are really good at maybe one or the other. And now I'm talking even about like celebrity culture. Like they're really good at, I suppose, like IRL, like identity, but they don't have the like metaverse Web3 identity.
Right.
And then you have other people who are like anon and they're really good at that, but then they meet them in person and they're just like mean and awkward. And it's interesting when people try to merge both. And I think those will be the next sort of superstar type people, metaverse celebrities.
Have you gone to a lot of conferences?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying significantly because, you know, there's like these people you see online everywhere and then you meet them in real life and it's very different.
It's also funny when you meet people and they're like, they almost give you attitude for not knowing who they are. And I'm like, how would I ever know who you are? Like you're on and you're just being mean.
Yeah.
Those are my least favorite type of people in the space.
And it's funny because like there's a lot of preaching of inclusivity and stuff like that, and then you're like, but then you get in real life, and I mean even at some of these events, it's very exclusive. And
yeah, but it's like manufactured exclusivity. Like it's fake. It doesn't feel real to me. The other side of it is like people who are early and that's their main qualification is they were earlier than you, which is like that hipster meme of like, oh, I used to like this band when they were cool. It's very similar.
It's the same mentality.
But they're also like now stinking rich. Anybody who is like, in the ETH pre-sale or claimed punks and held them, or bought apes even now and held them, like, but if that's your only qualification is like you were here a year ago, I don't know. There's an element of luck to that. I think you have to build up your social like value a bit more like organically than just that, like by being a nice, generous person with an abundance mentality. And the best people, like I mentioned, Aaron Wright or Snowfro, they're like so giving and nice. Or even the people I only know online, like there's been really generous people, like this guy named Kat, who just like, they're very nice. Like any interaction, I remember selling a divine robe loot by accident at one point. Like I was on a conference call and I listed this loot that was actually like a really grailish divine robe. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost like, whatever, tens of thousands of dollars. Like I was just on full tilt. I was so upset. And this anon internet guy that I just know from chat, I don't even know his name, is just a cat emoji. It was like, don't worry, dude, I have some divine robes. Just trade me for one of your floors. And he just gave it to me. And it was like so nice. Yeah, so the people who are early and who have bags and are able to just like be nice and practice abundance, they seem to be the most like level-headed, happy, and like, GMI type people. There's other people who have made fortunes, and I suppose they're GMI, if we want to talk about like codifying GMI versus NGMI, but they seem miserable.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot too. I mean, I've gone to a lot of these, and there's some people that I guess just energetically you can kind of pick it out. I think it all falls down to like somebody's pure intentions. Like there's only so much you can try to trade on clout, and like if you don't have to fake being nice to get somebody's attention or to be a part of their circle and get into the club to see Steve Aoki or whatever it is, like it just comes down to your pure intentions. And I think people who are kind and nice like find each other.
Yeah. The inclusivity, it's important. There's like groups, there's like demographics, there's genders, sexual orientations, races that might be underrepresented. Because I do think this is a predominantly white, cis-het male, kind of like frat finance type demo.
Yep, very much.
So there's all that, but then there's also just maybe the part that is better with inclusivity in this space is like different types of people. Like we respect, like Vitalik is like our god, and traditionally he's like kind of a dorkier guy. Like people might be like, who is this guy? He's wearing like a rainbow unicorn shirt or whatever. Like, but he is like our god. Like we worship like the brain of this man and his thoughts. And I think that part's cool. There's an interesting inclusivity there in this space. I think we can do better. I think right now there's just some growing pains within this space, and
it moves fast. One thing about this space that doesn't get talked about is it parallels gambling culture. There's tons of studies like how gambling causes dopamine hits and stuff like that, and I think there's a lot of that. Then
I don't know what you mean. I think my dopamine receptors are just done at this point. I don't know if they exist anymore.
I mean, you just said that you lost how much money on accidentally trading one, so it's probably this roller coaster, and then certain people get caught into that. It really pulls out, I think, addictive mentalities. I think that is something that doesn't get talked about because you do see a lot of very unhealthy culture around the space in general, staying up significantly late and, popping stimulants to just push through and mint NFTs and stuff like that. And
yeah. Who's doing that? Is there like a chat room for like amphetamine NFT mentors, degen pandas? I don't know.
I mean, we literally call it ourselves degens.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely had to prioritize fitness, like working out. It sounds so basic. I need to eat because sometimes I'm in meetings like to the point where I forget to eat or I don't have time to eat. Personal relations that are outside of crypto, it's really nice to just like not talk about crypto every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, there's a whole bright, shiny, amazing world out there that isn't like NFT related. And then also, yeah, just like having a steady, healthy lifestyle.
Well, I think that goes back to what you're saying is the people who don't bridge the in real life personality that they're creating and just their life with the metaverse one. Like, it's important. You can't build a metaverse if you don't live in the real world.
Yeah. I mean, and that's going back to like the Clubhouse thing. I mean, that's how I started in Clubhouse. I was doing like yoga. I was doing a room called Yoga is Vegan, and it was about yoga and healthy lifestyle and veganism, which is like it's an ethical sort of choice, and it's also a health choice. But yeah, and I was surfing in the best places on earth because that's what I sort of did before this, was like private islands and luxury surf charters. Oh, that's cool. So I was living the dream, but and I've had to make a sacrifice. Like I've definitely traveled less for surfing, but it's also been COVID, so and now here we are in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I wish there was waves here. There kind of looks like there are waves, but
there were some. We did a run this morning and went to the beach a little bit this way. And Tiago's a surfer, and he was saying that we could surf.
Yeah, there was swell yesterday. I talked to some of the boat guys though, and they said there's like big tiger sharks out, especially at sunset, and they were like, we wouldn't surf there at night. I'm glad I checked with some locals.
Yeah, good call.
I was being made fun of by people. They're like, "You're a surfer and you're afraid of sharks," and I'm like, yeah, because I've surfed where there are sharks, and they actually do bite people.
I've been asking everybody, what's the last NFT they minted?
I think a quantum gem. Maybe there's a panelist, Melissa Alcena, who was on our NFT panel yesterday here, and she had a drop on quantum. She's a local Bahamian artist, and she had her first drop, and I minted one of hers.
Oh yeah, I think you introduced me to her as we were walking. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I mean, I'm bullish on quantum, Justin's project. What they're doing with the retail space is really, really cool. They have this huge thing on Santa Monica Promenade. People are going to be able to come in and buy NFTs, learn about NFTs, get avatars of themselves.
That's cool.
It's interesting.
Are you predominantly Ethereum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have some on Solana. I have some Grim Syndicate and Catalina Whale, and then I have a Solarian too.
No degen Trash Pandas?
I don't. Is that your project?
No, it's not my project. No.
Yeah, I don't know why Solarians aren't supported on OpenSea yet. That would have definitely been my bet of these are going to be the thing, but it's like punks to apes. We overthink all of this. People just like monkeys.
Yeah.
So Solana monkey business would have been the right call.
I know. I mean, even they have the I think it's degen apes, where the big ones on Solana too, so...
Or on Arbitrum, small brains.
Yeah.
People just like the monkeys.
If I see another monkey PFP, though, it's going to drive me nuts.
If you don't buy it.
Yeah, right.
Not financial advice.
What are some things that you're really looking forward to in the space?
Gaming, obviously.
Yeah.
Actual metaverse stuff where you can actually take your assets into multiple games and universes.
Interoperability. Yeah.
Fashion. I think I'm a big fan of this project called DressX. Their two founders are friends, but they're trying to kind of get into that whole fashion, industry and take off a couple percentage points of the entire fashion world. And I think there's so much room for growth there. AR, VR, metaverse fashion, where you own your wearables as NFTs, and then you can wear them. Yeah. You can already do it now with Snapchat filters and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. I've definitely seen a lot of that stuff, and it's cool seeing also fashion incorporate NFC tags where you can. I've seen some of that too.
I haven't seen that stuff. Have you heard the word fidgetal?
Yeah. It's a very awkward word to say.
It's awkward and cringe a little bit, but it'll probably be in the dictionary by the time this is on YouTube.
Yeah. I've heard it several times, and I don't know if I like it, to be honest. But I get it. I understand the purpose behind it.
Yeah, what else? What else am I excited about? There's a yacht off the coast here called the Chakra. They're doing a membership, it's a yacht share, and they're
cool.
taking 99 members. So I guess it's within some type of more legal offering, U.S. offering, and you buy in, and then you pay a yearly thing for the yacht share, and you get a certain number of nights per week.
Oh, that's cool.
On this mega yacht. Yeah. That's interesting. I think they're going to NFT the membership, which then is kind of more appealing because you could buy and sell it OTC to people. If you were buying into this thing and then the number actually went up and it was a asset rather than just a complete liability, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I want to go back to what you were saying about the space kind of being a little bit bro frat kind of. What do you think we can do to open it up or even like make it less. I think it also out from the outside looking in, it can be kind of scary to look at this space in general and almost feel like it's exclusive.
Well, I think that's exactly it. Is we have to make on-ramps for people that are more fun and appealing and less, like what you just said, less scary or something. Like, so it has to be fun, cute, and exciting, like for people who aren't in Web3 to come in and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to this event or this concert or this party, and it just happens to have some NFT Web3 like backing or sponsorship, and then that gets your foot in the door and people will come to these parties, have a lot of fun and be like, oh, it was through this thing called Unicorn or like through whatever, and like that'll be their first entry into the space, and then these people might be more intrigued by it and they won't just think of like, monkey JPEG. They'll think of like their experience with it and the parties and the people they met, and realizing there's potentially some money to be made there or a career path to be had there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the events will be a big part of it. There's an education element. Gaming, stuff like that is, I think people have this like misconception. It's mostly, maybe like a white male like demographic or something like that. But gaming is now like very ubiquitous. Like mobile gaming is, I think it's pretty equally split among like almost every demographic. Like everybody has games on their phones and plays games, and it's not just like this hardcore gamer like WoW, the guy on South Park or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you got Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Candy Crush speaks to a lot of people.
But, even just retail, retail, a lot of retail is driven by other demographics. And I kind of think everything's going to be Web3'd at some point. Like it's a disruptive technology. It's like internet technology was 20 years ago. Everything's going to get integrated somehow into digital ownership or incentivizing users sharing in like revenue or like social revenue for other people. Like if you're an early adopter, you're incentivized to be early on things and people and communities.
I think a lot of people are just not even going to be aware that they're using it. It's going to be so integrated that you just don't even know. And
that's what to me like Ethereum or maybe Solana is like you get exposure to that underlying protocol level, which is like mind-blowing and insane, and that's never happened in history.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. And is there socials that people can follow you on?
Yeah, I mentioned I'm like sort of a vegan and a surfer, so I'm VegSurfer. That's my handle on Twitter, Instagram, everything. VegSurfer. Just find me there. Feel free to reach out. And then Wave Financial, Unicorn DAO. Those are my two sort of projects right now. So. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Cool.